talking on dating. So I'm Sarah Davison, best known with the really catchy job title of the divorce coach. We're not talking about divorce today, though. I've got a training school, actually, where I train coaches to become breakup and divorce coaches. And one of the biggest topics our clients ask us about is this: how do we get on with dating? So who here is single? Okay. Anyone here in a relationship? Okay, great. So this will be useful for you if you're in a relationship or you're single. And what I want to do today is give you as much value as possible. So we're talking, and this is going to be interesting, what I want to do is shine a light on your unconscious behaviours that might be keeping you stuck. I want to give you like a toolkit that you can use when you're out there dating, so that instead of it being unconscious and us getting stuck in patterns and doing things we don't really know why it's not working, then I'm going to give you, shine a light on the problems, raise them to your conscious mind. If you're consciously aware of them, guess what? That's when you can start to take your power back and do something with it. Now, they've given me a long list of things to talk about today. I was talking to Holly about all the things she wants me to cover. I was like, that's a lot. So we'll get stuck in, but if you've got questions, wave at me. We do have a mic, or I'll come to them at the end. First of all, love is a skill to be learnt, not just an emotion that we want to feel. That's why this session is really important. I'm going to give you a toolkit, and I'm going to show you how you can skill up on love. So we're going to start by looking at your attachment styles. Does anyone know anything about attachment styles? Have you heard of this before? Okay, I'm going to give you some options, and then I want you to have a think about which one you think you are. Now, there's no right or wrong, okay? There's no good one or bad one, but there is one that helps with relationships, okay? So see if you can spot that one. So attachment styles really comes from childhood. It comes from how you were treated by your parents or your caregivers and whether they met your needs. So, for example, if you were a baby in the cot and crying, did someone come straight away and pick you up and give you that reassurance, or were you left a little while? Or maybe you went through some kind of abuse or neglect. All this from childhood actually impacts our relationship styles, but unconsciously again. So that's why there will be some pitfalls here today. There will be some red flags to avoid. And I don't want you to focus on the negative stuff. I want you to use this as education, because clarity gives you power. Dating should be fun. It should be exciting. It shouldn't cause you anxiety, and it shouldn't cause you stress, because we've all got enough of that in our lives, right? So today, by honing your skills and honing your radar on this, we're going to accelerate your ability to find somebody that is a good match for you. So there's 4 different styles. Secure, 50% of people fall into the secure attachment style, and we'll come on and explain each of them in a moment. Anxious, about 25% of us are anxious attachment style. Avoidant, about 20%. And fearful, only about 5%. So let's have a look. Just have a think as I go through. Is this you? And sometimes it might be a bit of you in one and then a bit of you in another at times, and that's okay as well. So secure people are happy with intimacy, but are also happy with being independent. So what that means is you're happy in yourself. If your partner wants to go away for the weekend, not with you, then you're all right with that. You're like, okay, that's fine, I'll do my own thing. Because you can manage those feelings of closeness and being independent from them. You've got good self-esteem, and you're quite resilient as well. So if something does come up, like, oh, that's 2 weekends in a row they don't want to see me, you can manage that and process through and self-regulate your own emotions, okay? You can self-soothe with that. Anxious, well, you might have difficulty trusting other people. You know, maybe you've been hurt in past relationships, so that's a normal response, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you protecting yourself. You might have lower self-worth than a secure person, and your focus is that your partner might leave you. You're worried they might abandon you and you'll be left on your own. So because of that, you want to lean in. You want that, you crave that intimacy and that closeness. And sometimes that can show up as neediness or being slightly over-dependent on the other person in a relationship. So you're going to be looking for more reassurance than maybe some of your other friends, right? It might be that you need more text messages every day, or you need to hear that they love you every day, or you just need that contact and reassurance. Also, you can be overly sensitive. So, for example, if they did go away on that weekend, instead of thinking, oh, well, that's okay, I'll go do something, you might think, oh, I wonder if there's something wrong. I wonder if I'm doing something wrong. Are they getting away from me? Do I need to lean in? Now, avoidance. These people value independence over emotional closeness. So what they want is they're quite happy to be on their own. So they struggle with that intimacy and those close relationships. I can see some people are going, oh, I've dated somebody like that. Anyone here dated somebody like this? Yeah, a lot of nodding. They can suppress their emotions and they're quite distrusting of others because they're totally dependent on their own emotions. So they can look after themselves. They don't need anyone else. Often these are people that maybe as a child were abandoned. Maybe you were adopted, maybe just didn't get that love and support from the primary caregiver. They're going to struggle to communicate this as well. So things could be going well because they genuinely do like you. It's not that they're not able to like you. They will fancy you. You will have, if you're feeling it, it's real, but they have an inability to connect on that deeper level. So they're going to avoid sharing if something's upset them or hurt them. But their ultimate fear is being abandoned. So quite often they'll abandon you before you get a chance to abandon them. Fearful. This is a really small percentage of people. Low self-esteem, high anxiety, find it difficult to trust other people, got a really negative view of themselves as well as other people, to be honest. And so therefore it's really difficult for them to be in a close relationship. So often they're very disassociated in a partnership. So instead of it being you feel like you're in the room with them, sometimes it's like they're just watching and observing. They find it very hard. It's very hard to have a relationship. Probably wouldn't even get into the dating pool with people like this. So what happens when we date? So I'm going to tell you a story about one of my clients called Maya, who's anxious. And Maya goes on a date with Toby, who's an avoidant. Now, they'd been dating for a little while, actually, a couple of months, and she was really excited. They were getting on WhatsApp messaging, they'd had some phone calls, they'd had a few coffees, and this was the big dinner date. And she was planning to stay over, that was the plan. She was super excited, so off she went on her date, and it went really well to start with. What happened was, she turned up for dinner, and Toby was like, you look fantastic, you look beautiful, this is great. They had loads of things in common. They had a real giggle. They really enjoyed the evening. He was very affectionate with her in public, which she loved, being anxious. She got that reassurance from him, and a lot of words and physical touch, which made her feel fantastic. They went back to Toby's house. She stayed over, and this was the first time they had sex. That was amazing. She loved it. It was great. Toby seemed happy. She was happy. Woke up the next morning. Now, some of you are smiling here. I'm sure you're going to recognise this pattern. She woke up the next morning, and Toby was very friendly, and he said, why don't we go for brunch? She was like, excellent. She was thinking, oh, this is great. It's cloud nine. Finally, I've met the guy of my dreams. She said, is it all right if I just go in the shower and have a wash and everything, get ready? He goes, yeah, sure. So she went to the bathroom. She was only in there 15 to 20 minutes, but that's all it took. When she came out of the bathroom, she went downstairs, and Toby was very quiet, very different. And instantly she felt that shift that, oh, it's not quite the same anymore. I don't feel like he's giving me as much attention. And also, he was making coffee. And she said, oh, I thought we were going to go out for coffee. I thought we were going to go out for brunch. And he said, actually, I've changed my mind. I've actually booked a gym session. I've got to be there in 45 minutes. She was like, what? Okay, wanting to be a people pleaser, not wanting to upset him. Anyone recognise that? She said, okay, but she leaned in to give him a cuddle because she was going in being anxious for some more reassurance. He stepped aside. She was like, oh, well, I had a really good time last night. Thanks, Toby, I had a really nice time. Yeah, it was great. Here's your coffee. She sat at the kitchen table. In her head, she was saying to me, Sarah, all I could think about was, what did I do wrong? Was the sex that bad? Oh my God. Maybe he doesn't like how I look in the mornings. Maybe that's put him off. I don't know what's going on. While she was having these thoughts, Toby had left the room for a few minutes. He comes back in. He says, I've called you an Uber. Maya was devastated. She got in the taxi. She went home. On the way home in the taxi, she sent a few text messages. When anxious people are anxious because they're activated, they lean in. So she's trying to get her assurance because he's created this space. So she's trying to fill the gap. Hi, Toby. Had a great time. Maybe we can chat later. No answer. She sent 2 or 3 messages just in the taxi on the way home. By the time it got to 8 o'clock, she sent over 20 messages. getting more and more anxious, more upset, trying that tactic. If I show I'm upset, maybe he'll come towards. What's happening? Toby's going, geez, this woman's taking over my life. So what is happening for them? For Toby, he had a great night. He actually really genuinely likes Maya, really does. But in the morning, he's thinking, God, it's 10 o'clock. Is she still here? Is she going to want to move in? She is taking over my entire life. I need some space. I need some space. I know I said we'd go to brunch. She's taken 20 minutes in the shower. Oh my God, well, she does this every day. I can't put up with this. This isn't what I need. And he's moving away. He's started his what's known as deactivating strategies to give him space and move him away until he activates his protest behavior, which is, I've called you an Uber. However, for Maya, what's happening? She's saying, this was amazing. Maybe I've met my perfect match. This is great. However, obviously throughout that process, she's getting more and more anxious. So she's leaning in. As she leans in, he's like, oh my God, she's a psycho. She's a psycho. 20 messages. Now that's not really normal, I suppose, but he's thinking, right, this adds more to my story. I need to move away from this woman. The more he moves away, the more she moves in until she's done. She's like, I don't want any more of this. What happens then? She stopped leaning in. There's too much space. He's had some time. He comes forward. This is what's known as the anxious avoidant loop. This, if anyone's on dating apps, anyone tried dating apps? This is what you'll find with dating apps, because secure people tend to find their match and get off the dating scene, whereas that leaves the pool of people on the dating apps, whilst 50% are secure in the world, not on dating apps. You'll find a lot of them are in this pattern. So actually, you'll probably find most of them are anxious, avoidant personality types on there. So what is the solution? Well, first of all, you can date a secure person. That's always a good bet. Find one, stick to them. They're always going to be there for you. They're going to be stable. They'll lean into you if you need it. So if you are anxious, they're a great person to date. But how do you become more secure? Well, you will feel more secure if you're in a relationship with somebody that is secure, because you won't have that destabilizing behavior. But also, we want to flip this and do the work. Last year, I talked here about finding out, what your ideal partner would be. And to add to that, this year, I want to talk about how do you want a partner to make you feel? That's the question which we don't spend much time thinking about. We think about what we want, but not how we want them to make us feel. That hot, cold, on, off from somebody who's avoidant or toxic can actually be very destabilizing. So understanding how you want to feel in a relationship is going to be essential to your success. So if you have a think about that, that will help you when you're dating. Now, if someone comes along who doesn't make you feel like that, do you say, I know at the moment they're not making me feel good, but when they get to know me better, they'll change. I've done that before. It doesn't work, right? Or do you say, oh, well, I'll ignore that because I can fix them or I can help them? No. The trick is with these tools is once you see the red flags, you deploy your parachute and you exit the building as soon as possible, okay? However, we go for the bad boys, the bad girls, that's what we do, right? It's exciting, isn't it? Has anyone here gone for a bad boy before? Right, why? Shout out. Why do you go for the bad boys? Yeah, go on. Fear? Oh, fit, yeah. They tend to be fit. Yeah, that helps, that helps. But they're exciting, yeah.
Because their lifestyles are so completely different to my own.
Exactly.
It's exciting and it's as in like I'm talking full on tattoos and all that kind of really
Yeah.
cliche stuff.
Yeah, motorbikes, tattoos, exciting. So at the beginning, they make you feel $1 million, right? But then what happens? Then you don't know if they're going to reply to your text. If they do, it's exciting because, well, they've bothered to reply. But actually, they might not. And then you feel terrible. You're up and down, up and down. So bad boys do appear to be more exciting. Absolutely. However, the secure attachment are the heroes of the relationship world. But the problem we have is that we often confuse secure people for boring or too keen, right? One of my clients, Gira, she's adorable, but she said to me the other day, she said, oh, I had this great date. She said, I really liked him. I said, great, you see him again? Oh, no. I'm like, we've had one date, yeah. I said, but you liked him? Yeah, he's quite attractive. I was like, okay, so what? She goes, well, I told him I was going to Paris, haven't been for many years, and that I was excited about it. And then when I got home, he sent me a list of things to do in Paris he'd looked up because he'd been there recently. He thought he might share them with me. total ick, too keen. I was like, well, maybe this is someone that's just really interested in you and putting in a bit of effort. Oh no, desperate. So, okay, interesting. So, tips to avoid the bad boys. Look for the consistency. You don't want to be playing games. If you're in, out, you don't know where you are, hot, cold, they might reply, they might leave you hanging. That's not a secure person. Look to see if their words match their actions. And are they clear about how they feel about you? Okay? I love this quote. Believe them when they show you who they are. Who here's been in a relationship that's failed and looking back can see the clear red flags right from day one? Yeah. They will show you. But we've got to be careful here to deploy parachute and exit the building immediately, because otherwise we repeat the same patterns. One of the things that is a big telltale sign I see so many of my clients doing is they're ghosting whilst they're being ghosted, which basically means they're dragging the conversation. So, for example, hi, how's your day? Are you having a good day today? Yes. Okay, I obviously haven't asked the right question, right, to enable him to or her to engage with me and open up. So I'll try another one. Oh, I've got a really busy weekend ahead. Are you doing anything interesting? Not many plans. Oh, so what you're doing there is you're dragging the conversation and there's no interaction. They might not reply or they totally disappear on you. Obviously, that is complete ghosting. That's a sign that it's a bad boy or bad girl and they're not going to be the best match for you in this scenario. The cold, harsh truth of it, buckle up, if they're not messaging you, it's because they don't want to message you. And I know that's hard, but that is the cold, harsh truth. People do what they want to do. If you think about it, they get up when they want to get up. They wear what they want to wear. They'll brush their teeth in the morning because they want to do that. But ultimately, they will do what they want to do. Don't make somebody a priority in your life who's making you an option. So many people are happy to tolerate that as behaviour, and it's not acceptable. I know it's hard, but if you take away these points that you didn't ruin this with them, I see so many people saying, oh, I think it's because, and Maya was the same, I think it's because I wasn't very good in bed, I haven't had sex for a long time. I'm like, that is not the reason Toby's doing this. It's just not your person. You can't make someone love you by giving them more of what they don't appreciate. It's like filling up that bathtub and keep going. It doesn't make any difference. It's not going to get you anywhere. And please don't judge your next love story by the ending of your previous one. So many people say to me, Sarah, how am I ever going to trust again? Because my last boyfriend did this and my last girlfriend treated me like this. The thing is, you don't ever need to learn to trust someone and give your trust away. What you do need to trust is yourself, to make better decisions on who you give VIP access to your heart. So if you can do the work, that puts you back in control. That enables you to have the power to make the decisions. You're not looking to get picked, right? Is anyone waiting to be picked? We want to do the picking. Yeah, when I'm waiting, are they going to choose me? Am I good enough? No, are they good enough for you? That's where we want to get to. Digital body language is something that I love, and it's the new body language. I'm probably a bit older than some of you here, but do you remember when body language was what you used to do? You used to read body language. Is he leaning in? Is she twiddling her hair? Oh, she definitely liked you. Is she looking at you, giving you eye contact? Oh, great, okay. That was how we used to judge if someone was into us. Now we're not even in the same room as the person. So we've got to look at digital, which is things like what emojis are they using? What punctuation? Is their grammar any good? How long are their messages? Remember Gira? That would turn her right off. A long message, too key. So all these things, and how long do they take to respond? So Hinge did some surveys on their actual, the people on their dating apps. And what they found was actually the time to respond to your text may not necessarily mean they're not into you. And this is really a key distinction. You have to set your expectations from the beginning because some people are not very good at replying to messages. Some people, that is not their preferred way of communicating. One of my best friends, Sue, she doesn't respond for 3 or 4 days, sometimes 7 days, sometimes never to particular messages. Not because she doesn't like me, I hope, it isn't. It's because she just isn't the kind of texty, WhatsAppy person. She'd much rather call me for 2 hours on a Friday and have a long, long chat when I'm trying to work than WhatsApp me every 2 minutes. So that's key. So identifying from your partner, before you say goodbye, identify what is their preferred style. Are they not a texter? Obviously, you can reward, like children. Well done on sending that. It's great to hear from you. I like hearing from you, to encourage that with positive reinforcement. But if you're in a relationship with someone that doesn't make you feel good and you feel that anxiety, if you're anxious coming up, just say to them, I need an emoji from you when you think about me from time to time during the day. That's enough. You don't have to write anything. Send me something. So the research from Hinge showed that that would work. It also showed that if someone's initiating a conversation with you and that they are consistently messaging you, they are very good cues, digital body language cues. If someone is making you wait, on the whole, they're not that into you. This is another one, and it's something that Holly particularly wanted me to talk about, why smart, ambitious women are often single. Now, I think a lot of people who are, and it could be men as well, who are, have a strategy for success. Maybe you've great mum, or you're great at work, you've got a great job, or you've got your own business, or you've run a marathon, or you look after your health. We have a way of doing that. We hustle a bit, and we set goals, and off we go, and we achieve them. The challenge is you can't hustle your way into a relationship. It doesn't work that way. And some of the stats are a little bit upsetting for women. So high-educated men prefer to be with low-educated women, whereas high-educated women prefer to be with high-educated men. One of the challenges, though, is that most of the university graduates, over 60% around the world, are 60% women and 40% men. So you can see already that there's a discrepancy. And whilst a lot of women want to be with successful men that are on their level or above, men are quite happy to date people that aren't as successful as them. So no surprise that 79% of women struggle to find men that are on their intellectual level. The other interesting thing is that we all prefer to date someone that's attractive. Regardless of how attractive we are, attractiveness is key. So summing up from that, for men, get educated and be attractive. For women, stay out of school and be hot. That's basically what the research says. But I don't want you to be dismayed by that, because there are some real tools that you can use to help you with your dating. We have to focus less on relation shopping and move to relation shipping. So what is relation shopping? It's when you're shopping on things that are quite superficial. The sort of things like looks, money, personality, and hobbies. And I think in the past, a lot of people have put so much weight on that. Now we want to be looking more for kindness and loyalty. And those bad boys aren't showing you that with the hot, cold, on, off messaging. Emotional stability is underrated. Having that ability to be yourself and not be on that roller coaster ride, super important. The ability to make hard decisions together, work through problems, and resolve conflict in a way. Don't avoid conflict. Someone that you never argue with isn't necessarily healthier. It's how you come together to resolve that which is going to be key. And what side of you do they bring out? Do they make you happy? Do they make you relaxed? Or do they make you anxious or worried? So we want to find a way to increase your chances of meeting your soulmate, which means being more open-minded. Some of you will be romanticizers, which means you believe in love at first sight. Does anyone believe in that? Some of you do, some of you. So what that means is when you're dating, you're looking for that instant chemistry on date one. Research in America has shown, they interview people after date one all the way through to 25 years of being together. And the interesting thing was the people that made it to 25 years were, on the first date, their feedback wasn't fireworks and massive chemistry. The feedback overwhelmingly was, yeah, attractive, yeah, nice date, enjoyed being with them, not sure. The people that burned out quickly were the ones that had the fireworks and the chemistry and it was all really exciting, and those tended to fizzle out more often than the ones that were on the first date taking it easy. But a lot of people will, like Gira, will burn them after date one because they don't meet the criteria. As well as they might not like, for example, the way they wore socks with their sandals, or the fact that they made a funny sound when they ate. I had one client who had a Velcro wallet, and she was like, a Velcro wallet? I can't date a man with a Velcro wallet. It's like, okay. Yeah, everyone's thinking, do I have a Velcro wallet? Maximizers, you're the kind of people that look for someone that can do everything. And I think this has shifted as well recently, where people are looking for somebody who's a great parent, someone who can be a great lover, especially with men, someone who can be very alpha and protect you if there was any danger, but also be really emotionally available to you and be able to discuss your emotions and give you a cuddle. We want all these different things from one partner. So I suggest that we look at broadening that, because you can get love and connection from family and friends. You can get emotional stability from some of your family and friends. It doesn't all have to come from one person. So if you're a maximizer, just be aware that you might be closing doors because they miss one category, but you could easily find that with somebody else. Hesitators are people who don't want to get into the dating pool until maybe they've got a better job, or till maybe the kids have left home, or maybe when they lose a bit of weight. So again, you're always putting off that next step and getting onto the dating scene. The only way to get better at dating is to get dating. And to be honest, the smartest people in my mind are the people that are single and not trying to lower their standards or settle for someone just to ease the pain of being alone. You know, they are the smartest people, because even though that's tough to do, even though that may be causing them some sacrifices in life, I always say it's much better to be single than to wish you were single, okay? And actually, your ideal partner is definitely worth the wait. They are definitely worth the wait, but in the meantime, keep shining your light bright and keep standing strong, because ultimately, the most exciting, challenging, and significant relationship of all is the one you have with yourself. Thank you, guys. Okay, do we have any questions before? Oh, yes. Okay, I think we have a mic. I think Peyton might be just going to get the mic. Okay, just the lady there.
Hi. So you mentioned obviously that if the person's not texting you back, that then they don't want to have a conversation. But then you also said that sometimes some people aren't great texters. Like, how do you differentiate that, and how do you work out what they're actually doing? Because apologies if I get a bit too personal. Like the person I'm seeing, he works in hospitality, so he'll message me at 11 a.m. He has messaged me at like 11 at night, and then suddenly he'll not message me for days. Like, how do I know it's whether he's actually just no longer interested or he's just, busy and stuff?
Yeah. I think, first of all, it's not a great sign if someone isn't giving you that. I would say there are a small minority of people that aren't great at texting, but texting only takes a few minutes, right? The Hinge survey showed that just before you ditch people, give them a chance, like have that conversation. And I always say things like, approach it not in a combative way or an anxious way. You can say, look, I appreciate that you're busy and you've got lots of things going on in your life, but when you don't message me for 2 days, or you don't reply or even read my text that I've sent you, it makes me feel anxious, or maybe that you're not really into me. Is that the intention, or is it something else? And usually at that point, they'll come forward with something, and you'll have to use your instinct on that. But I think if you can see how they are with other people, like my friend Sue, she's terrible with everyone. If it's general with everyone and their friends are saying it, it might be that. But I would, after a few dates, you get the gist of, is this person into me or not? And you have to be really honest with yourself. It's not always easy.
So I would say I'm probably in the secure category. And you said that on the dating apps that it's mainly the anxious avoidant types. So how do we find secure people? What are the other alternatives now?
We don't have to date. So you could date someone who's more anxious if you're secure, because you'll lean into them. But I would be careful of the avoidance. Like, anxious people just need more reassurance. And if you're comfortable with that, which you will be as a secure person, that's easy to work with. And actually, it's quite a nice dynamic in a lot of cases. But there are secure people on the dating apps, just not as many as the others. So that's the thing. And it is just a case of prioritizing that. If you know what you're looking for, you are much more likely to see it, which is why these kind of sessions like this are useful, because now you've got the tools. You're not going to waste time with avoidance or people that are overly anxious. You're going to get out. So you are going to be able to spot those secure people, whereas before you might not have seen them. So I think it's like, you wouldn't leave your house in the morning without knowing where you were going, because you'd never get there, and if you did, you wouldn't even know. So it's about focusing on what you want, and then you'll see more of it. Thank you.